Thanks for downloading this episode from Teachers Talk Radio. You can find the full schedule and listen back to all our shows at ttradio.org. Enjoy the podcast.
So, Sharon, I know we are all, in the vibes of summer vacation going on right now. And I think it's too early to break into this topic. But I would want to know how you're feeling about back to school.
Uh, like honestly, just yesterday I was like thinking it's just like already July is up, and then in like another 2 weeks for teachers, I think we join school back. For children, it's almost 3 weeks, but for teachers, it's just 2 weeks left, and I'm like, it's just gone, and so we are again back to the school. Yes, it is going to be like something which is, you don't want to go back to school after a long holiday, but something you look forward to because it's going to be a new children, new environment, and new people that you want to like look after. You're looking forward to just go meet them, and the different personalities that you will be having to see this year, what this year will bring into, the new academic year.
Absolutely. So, I'm so keen on, I do know we, like, maybe we are seasoned teachers and we know what to do. We've
Yeah.
been doing things year and year on. But to our listeners out there, educators out there, I just want to know your intake of how it is to, especially when you don't know the children and the cohort that you're going to be teaching. So, I'm sure there is a feeling of getting overwhelmed at one side, or it could also be a feeling of that energy at 100% level, enthusiasm is there, and then you know what you're going to do. So what is the balance you feel as a homeroom teacher a teacher should start off with, besides getting things printed and getting things ready for the classroom? But what's your take on the first things? And I'm looking at from the perspective, Sharon, something to support educators to be very smart enough and not get themselves bogged down with the fact that you have to do all of it and be like 100% at all.
Yeah, true. Something that I have learned from especially the school is that like relationships are very important. I think the printing and all of that is like a mandatory in like our field. All that has to be done, and like that will be done any day, even if it is not today and by tomorrow. But then I think as in when we build the relationships with the children, and since new children also are coming in, since I don't know this classroom or like anything, but I think have it very slow and paced, because once your children feel comfortable with you, they feel very like warm, and they feel like, yeah, this I'm safe in this class. I think then you can totally like even if you want to do something new also, they're ready to do it. Because if child is not comfortable and hates coming to class, that is more of a challenge, I feel like, every day. How do you make that one or two children just make sure that they are more loved? Because that one child not liking your class may go wrong in the whole academic year. So I feel like the whole class should feel safe, because that is what I felt in my last year, that when the whole class is safe, no matter what you do, like and they are there with you, and they will do like whatever you ask them to do, and then they are on the same level as you. Not that they back answer you, or like they don't want to not like, if I give them a task and if they don't want to do it, they will not do it. If no matter what, if they hate the teacher, they will not do anything.
Absolutely. I think that a very key point that you've brought up today is building relationship. I think that's something really point to be noted, and it could also be actually a smart move.
Yeah.
Sometimes I think educators might get into the logistics of my, how many students, from where they
True.
come, and look at some data points
Numbers,
of
yeah.
numbers. And ultimately, or not, if you're not able to build that relationship at the first, you say the first impression is the last impression.
True.
But it has been changed now. The first impression is a lasting impression. So
Yeah.
I think with our children, that's something really hooks up. And if you have got the confidence and you have built that, I really love the way you put forth the safety aspect, that if the child feels safe with you, if the child is willing to continue his entire year knowing that this teacher is going to be there, teach me and I
Yes.
can just look up to her. But Sharon, tell me, how do you build this up? Could you just like throw some light on two three steps or two three ways or key takeaways that our listeners can take in to build up this relationship positively?
Yeah, I think what I have done is my throughout my career is like, especially like lower grades. Yes, you the children are scared of you, and then they just listen to what, like, or they not scared, but then they just feel like I have to listen to the teacher when they have that thing. But when the children grow older, they also have like retaliation, or they just don't want to listen because they also have like that pamperedness at home. But so they think the teacher is also like the same. But then for me, what worked is when a child is adamant or like not liking the class, or like not feeling, or he doesn't want to come to school, or doesn't want to do the task, and he doesn't want to, I just let him do that for like a day or two, so that if he tells me today I don't want to do this, I'll tell him, okay, you instead of five you do one, and then tomorrow we do two. So then I build that relationship. Yes, the teacher will listen to me, if and then I have to listen to the teacher as well, if I want to be in the class, and if I want to be feeling like to learn, and if I want to do something else also, I know the teacher is my safe space to go, and she will listen to me in the future as well. Let it be not in terms of like studies as well, but children go through a lot of stuff. So I know that if I gain that trust from the child, like if he says, okay, today I will do one, I will be like, okay, but tomorrow you have to do the whole thing. So that is something where some children feel like, yeah, she's listening to me today, and then tomorrow I will listen to her and I will respect her. So it goes, I think, two ways. Once you respect the child, because this generation is very different to what we were growing up and stuff. So
Yes.
that is something that I have learned, that if I listen also to the child,
Mm-hmm.
sometimes automatically they will also gain that love and respect for you. And that is when next time when you tell them to do something, they'll automatically do it without like saying no, or like throwing like just saying no, I don't want to do this, I'm not in the mood. So once they know that, yes. And sometimes some children do have like anger issues coming from home, or like it could be any other reasons, or they're not good sleep, so the whole day is like not well. So then you let that child be for like that half an hour or something, or just go have a walk, or just go out and meet a buddy outside and just share that problem with a safe buddy that he can or she can,
Mm-hmm.
and then come back to class and feel back to normal, and then continue the task as a regular day. So it should not be looking like the whole class is like, I don't let any problem in the class to be spoken out loud. Either we come out and speak outside the class, or if he trusts somebody in the class and he says, today I want to speak to, I'm not feeling good, I'll be like, okay, even if the lesson is going on, but I feel like if I let him do that, so next time he knows that when I tell him that today we cannot because it's an important lesson, then sometimes it can be an escape for the children as well. But that is what I have learned, that in like process of giving and taking is what made my class a very safe space for both of us.
Amazing.
They love enjoying coming to class, and I love enjoying. It's not like oh, this teacher again, she's going to like give us a lot of work. That was not the criteria for me.
So I get it, Sharon. I think first step is being a good listener for a teacher,
Yeah.
as you mentioned, and also giving the space. Because as we started our conversation itself, and I also posed this question to you, that we are on the break and now we have to go back to school. We have ourselves a different feeling, all of it. Imagine these two kids who have been and have set a routine for these months, isn't it? They might be getting up late in the morning, or they might be just like just using the time, maybe watching TV or video games, and there could be a whole lot of things that they might be doing, and there would be a study gap as well. I'm sure you agree with me, if in case students have not, though we do train them by giving maybe some homework or whatever, assignments that they have to complete during their vacation, but out of 100, I think only 20% of them would actually do it. I would frankly say that, because I have had personal experience. It's just that when we come back to school, that is the week they actually start getting doing that stuff as well. So
Yeah.
Yeah, giving them a listening here, that's one thing. But along with that, the first 2 weeks, Sharon, I think there's a whole lot of drama out there that a teacher would have to do,
True.
especially with the lower kids. I mean to say
Yeah,
the,
yeah.
yeah, the lower primary, or you could say the little ones.
Yeah, because
And
they have a lot of more like,
yes,
things.
and I'm sure it's very difficult dealing with that age, with any age for that matter. But when it comes to the aspect of drama, entertainment, or getting them liking back to school, how what would your idea of that ideal 2 weeks be like? Besides, first, yes, giving them a listening ear, what
I think the
next?
first 2 weeks should only like let them know their friends, because I think if they have somebody in the same class they know, it's much more easier for them to like just come to school every day, to just meet that friend in school, so that because if they don't have this, if they're coming into a new class and they don't have anybody that they know, that might just make it more difficult for some children. But if they have somebody already they know, so I think like the first 2 weeks should be like just letting them loose and getting to know their partners or just friends, and like let them set up their own the routines and stuff, so that the first 2 weeks are set, and like you're assigned like a buddy, or then they fall into the track of how to do things, or like or just let me or and like first 2 weeks is even me like getting to know the children, like let them tell me about them, and then how can I just encourage them, or if they just have like because first 2 weeks we don't actually do much of studies because they're still new to the school, and like they're still wanting to not learn. So I think it should be like a fun area where they just practice how to make friends, follow the routines, and just make sure that they get to know each other in the class, because even once the children have a buddy, that is much more easier for them to come to school every day. I have noticed that if they don't have a friend in school, they don't feel like coming to school because they're like sitting all alone, or they just feel like even more upset coming to school. Once they have their friends made up, I feel like every day they have something to talk about, or they can share. So that coming to school experience is, I think, making friends in the first 2 weeks would be much more
Making
better.
them comfortable, yeah,
Yeah, like with
absolutely.
themselves, not with me, but at least with their group of friends. And they can, like, once the routines have been told to them, and then they just keep following from the other two after the 2 weeks.
So, to our listeners out there, if you're listening to us, this is Famida with you on Saturday's lunch show, and we are discussing how to prep ourselves to back to school, but yes, take smarter steps so that you're not overwhelmed, or you're not and you're bang on spot with the students. So Sharon, she's a year 5 teacher, and she's really given some practical ways that she's applied and has worked really well. She started off with saying giving a listening ear first and foremost, to make the child feel that this is a safe zone the child is in, that is his safe space basically. And secondly, we went on to what events or drama a teacher should do in class. She mentioned about help giving the children time to get know each other along with the teacher, basically making friends, as simple as that. Because maybe the entire cohort is the same, maybe they've been shuffled, maybe there's something else, but at the same time it's a different age, the child has grown a little older, and there are different dynamics, that because they're coming back after a break. So to get that at ease for students, I think that is what we are looking at. Sharon, will quickly go on a short break and ad break,
Sure.
and we'll be back. I would still request you to try to join
Yeah,
in
I
while
will
I'm
do
at
that.
a
Yeah.
break and
Yeah.
see. I do have a few listeners who have joined in. Do pose your questions, and if you would like to join the show, I would be great. It would be great to have you on show too. So we go on a short ad break right now.
Need
I
a
will just try
smarter
to.
way to teach? Wish your lessons had more impact? Eduflix.com. Stream educational films for teachers and students in or out of the classroom. Keep students engaged. No ads. No distractions. Try it free for 30 days at eduflix.com/try. Use code TTR. Get 50% off all orders made before June 1st. eduflix.com.
This show is brought to you in partnership with John Catt Educational, publishers of professional development books and resources that support great teaching and learning in schools around the world. Don't miss out. Level up your professional development today and visit johncattbookshop.com to explore the full range of titles. Use the code JCTTR2425 for 20% off your order. Happy reading.
The two steps that you've given us are like quite practical and possible.
Yeah. Also,
And-
one more thing I forgot to mention was I think leadership.
Oh,
If you give like the roles to the kids in the class, that makes them even more interest. Like they just want to do that task. Like they feel like, okay, this is my task to do. It'll be like a small thing as well. Like leadership, I think plays a huge, and also they feel like important in the class so that they have a role to play. So that is what I feel like has made, them also to feel like, yeah, this is my job and I am also a part of, year 5 or year 4 or like that class too.
So I have a few listeners who've joined in the room. Like I have Ava and I had Tusini. So in case you just have any questions of back to school, you just want to join us, you can definitely let me know in the chat over there. Our topic is back to school forward with purpose. We are looking at some steps that we can reflect on and they have practically worked out, and which you yourself as educators can just take it and go ahead in class. So Sharon, going ahead with our next segment. So I think you gave us two tips, but going forward, if we say, how do you approach planning in the first few weeks? Do you co-plan with your team, or you prefer to adapt individually based on your class vibes, or like how do you balance creativity with the curriculum demands?
I think, some do prefer to have it individually, but I feel like it's best that we co-plan because if we're in the same year group, it's best that, the two classes are learning the same thing and having the same kind of activities because sometimes we have siblings in both the classes, like, the twins. So you don't want them to go home and be like telling, oh, this is what we did, but then this is what we didn't do today. So why, there was a difference in learning. So I feel like maybe we should, I prefer co-planning plus, but also if your class cannot adapt to that kind of a technique, you change it accordingly, but the concept should be equally the same in learning in both the years. I mean, both the classes in the same year, because it makes, we have friends coming in or meeting each other, and then, sometimes it'll be like, oh, that class was more fun. Why didn't you do that activity with us? So, or that class, and then, why didn't we do that activity? Or like, why that class comes to me and says like, why didn't, you give us this activity to do? Your children came and said this class was fun. So it shouldn't affect, then automatically the children also want to shift their classes because of their mindset. I want to go back to that class. They want to come here. So I just feel like co-planning is like good. Like at least we have the similar plans, but just tweak and adapt to that.
Oh, you know what,
class.
Sharon? I want to give you this clap. Absolutely true. You know why? Because when you mentioned the example of twins, more than twins, I feel, our parents are so well connected, right?
True.
They would
Yes.
definitely want to know what happened in your class, what happened in my class.
True.
And at the same time, if we are here as a team, when you look at the broader aspect, being a part of a school who is wanting, when the kids come under your care, as a teacher, as a part of the vision and mission of the school, we definitely look up to like giving, as you said, no, that safe space, giving the best to the child, and we are in the same team. So why not have that vision of doing something together and making children feel the best under whoever's care they are, basically, whether it's Sharon, whether it's Famida, whether it's any other teacher. But yeah, I think you bang on. I really like that. Do not individually plan. A co-plan would definitely be a smart one, because
Yeah.
I think even the idea of flowing, with each other, uh, and
And
the
like, there's no harm. Like, see, there's sometimes, some have the sense of competition. Like, I have to do better than them. But then, end of the day, I feel like the children are suffering. So
yeah.
there's no point in like having that, because we're in the same school. If something goes wrong, and at least we both can be on the same team to show that yeah, this is what we did together. Than like in the curriculum wise, than to just say I did it on my own, and it doesn't make sense because the kids are going to just not like it as well. So
And I'm really happy you brought this point out, Sharon. It's so important to co-plan. And if I go back to your very first point of giving time to setting up a relationship with the class, so I think when if it is planned together and we are even experimenting it for that matter in the class, so we can discuss it further, like did it work out, did it not work out, what's in fact working out in that 1 2 days or the first 2 weeks. There's so much to explore if the practices are the same, and actually it is also well planned beforehand to sitting
yeah,
together. Yeah.
yeah.
So I think, Sharon, that's like bang on. Getting forward to my next segment, Sharon, I wanted to know from you, how do you actually protect your energy in term one? Like, what have you learned not to do very early on?
I feel like it's just that not come to conclusions is something that I have learned. Like, yeah, if the day is going bad, sometimes the teachers be like, "What do I have to go to this job from tomorrow? I don't want to go." So that is something that I feel like it's just that our mental space also is very much important. So I just feel like I should sometimes leave work at work and not bring it home. But then, so at least in the first 2 months, I feel like that would be like a better thing, because if you are just bringing it home, even as you're coming in the first 2 months, or like, that first term, it just gets, obviously there is going to be work from home that you cannot deny. As teachers, we are working, but I feel like maybe we should just have something off that we like, find. Or first term is also, I feel like, as teachers, you have your friends around with you, which is much more important, like your environment. So even if something goes wrong, you just went out with that teacher and then you feel good, or you just have that coffee for that 5 minutes with that teacher and then you feel seen, and you feel like, yeah, I'm having somebody to listen to me, at least at work, because obviously we know everybody's busy in that work, and but then you don't know who's your friend, who's not your friend. But once you find like that safe space for you as well, or like you have a partner. I remember when we were together, I feel like, uh, at least that 5 minutes of that chai or coffee, or having a break together and just telling how your day, or somebody listening to you and, keeping you sane for that, okay, fine, I'm there. And then if something goes wrong, you just let me know. Like, don't make any harsh decisions. So that is something I feel like it's
Keep
very
it
important.
moving.
Yeah. Like obviously, like something goes wrong today, and then from tomorrow you feel like, oh, I'll resign. I don't want to go back to work. Many
Yeah.
of us do have that. Oh, why should I be taking this? It's not my fault. We do have that, but I feel like if you have somebody to just keep you
Went
like
out.
vent out, and then just talk, and then I feel like in my experiences, like, because if even for any of the teachers, once we had something and then immediately the teacher is there to you without having anything in their hearts, or just vent them out both each other, and then you feel like, yeah, tomorrow I can go back to school with a fresh mind. There's nothing that I'm carrying forward for the next day. I feel like that thing should be just not be there. Like, don't carry it to the next day, because it just makes you going to school even worse. You don't feel like going to work, because having that in your head doesn't, because when you're teaching the kids also, you have irritation of that's on your head, and then your class doesn't go well, and like you get irritated with your kids, which is not good.
So I think Sharon has reminded me one thing, that this is something like maybe not connected directly to the topic, but I would like to bring this up. it's so important that when we say let the children build up the relationship with their buddies in class so that they find their safe space, it's same with the educators out there. I think having that one buddy or a group of teachers in the school itself, where we can, as she mentioned, as Sharon mentioned, we can vent out, we can share, we can just have that light moment together. It's so it just boosts or encourages you to continue with what you're doing. And I think, Sharon, I'm sure you'd agree, the parties that we throw out.
True. Yeah,
And
that's what I'm saying. Like, there should be something that you feel you're like on the same page with somebody, so you have like not feeling to keep everything in your heart, which makes it worse. So
why don't you share, Sharon, what is our group and what we do and how we just plan out and have that breather?
yeah, like like obviously our group is party girls because we love to party, and that is what I'm very happy. Like, even though we are still working in different schools, or we are moved, like I think I've known you after I've moved out, but also like after we have made the group.
Yeah.
And so, and then that's built like a really good relationship, even though we were in the same school, but we never met each other, or we've never spoken. But then that group, when we built it, it automatically built our relationships, and now we're doing a podcast together.
I'm so glad we are doing it.
Yeah, so I'm just saying that if you have somebody, like even if it is not in the same not
Same
at
school.
work,
Yeah.
but at least you have, like, now when we come, but we're all coming as teachers, so we all relate to the same thing, so we
Yes.
all can talk about the same thing and went it out. And I think that once a month that we meet,
Yeah.
or even now once in two, whenever we do meet, it's like coming from a safe space. Yes, this is like my safe, even though we have other friends and stuff, but I feel like when we come in together as all of us, because we're all teachers, we all relate to, like, everything that we are doing in school, and also everything
And
that
there's so much of learning from each
True.
other, I think. Yeah.
yeah,
Going
and
back,
different age groups that we teach, so that we have different learning from each other as well on that.
so I think the co-planning is again a planning that you must have with your colleagues also. That is one thing I think
True.
we can always prioritize and have that. It could be also having your me time, but along with it, when we have that time out, we do get to share our experiences, and I'm sure we learn a lot from experiences. Absolutely. So, Sharon, before we end, is there anything, any advice you want to give out there to our educators, and want to give out a last message or something?
Um, Message, not really, but like definitely teaching is not as easy as how it was, and it's going to get little. I mean, it's obviously a task. It's obviously a field that it requires us to give it our all, because some of them are married, have kids, and it's very difficult to manage. And teaching field asks us a lot in general. We know that it just
Yes.
requires us to give it, like our full day, even on the weekend. I do understand, but I think that there should, like, the teachers should know where to draw the line, at least to go back to the week new, at least on the weekend, try to like switch off. I mean, like, I understand it's not, teaching does require us to have it, there's no doubt about it, but then the best thing is that just to keep our mental safe health also safe, and like our, because we need our body to be moving and up and down physically and everything. So I feel like that switch off moment whenever it is on the weekends must be done, because otherwise anyway we are on the grind of, like, the grind for like Monday to Friday and everything. So then our holidays, so whenever we get that holiday, I think it's just best to have that holiday completely there for yourself, so that you are energized for going back to school the next day. Otherwise there's no point in like just 24 hours working, because you don't give time to your children, or to your siblings, or to your spouse, or to your parents. So I feel like it's just, you have to keep that
Unwind, reflect. Yeah.
yeah. Just that is something which I would say, that no matter what, just like how we look, like how I look, even like going out, like how I look forward to our once in a month
Meeting.
party.
Yeah.
that is something that I feel like the teachers should look at, is just take that off. Don't think, okay, sometimes when we take that off also, we'll be like, oh, why don't we have a working laptop today, So I
Yes.
feel like that
And I'm
gives
sure
students
that this time that we take out indirectly helps us get super prepared for the next week that is coming up, and to deal with the challenges that we might not foresee also, whether in our classrooms and our teaching, things that is going to be in the next week. So that reflection, unwinding, and giving me time is so very important to be prepped for the next week or the coming
yeah.
months.
Yeah, that is true, because I feel like school is anyway going to take up your energy, so you might as well unwind and just keep that 2 days or your breaks to yourself and enjoy it, and then have
Go
that fun.
back to school. So yes, Sharon, it was lovely having you on our show. Back to school isn't about being perfect, it's about being prepared with heart, because Sharon began the show with telling the basic thing of building a relationship with your classroom, with the cohort that you have. Secondly, giving a listening ear to students. Thirdly, letting the children build up relationship, whether it's with the teacher, whether it's with the classmates, giving them their space, making them feel that this is their space, their safe space. So Sharon, thank you for bringing your honesty and heart to the show. Your passion is infectious, and I know many educators listening will walk into the year feeling seen and supported. So, to everyone tuning in, may your plan stay flexible, your students feel valued, and your joy for teaching only grow. Let's not just go back to school, let's move forward with purpose. Thank you, listeners. Thank you, Sharon. It was a
Thank
great
you so
show.
much, Pat, for having me, Miss Famida. It was
Yes.
great having you.
Yes, Sharon, and we'll be in touch. I'm sure we can think of some more topics and get in touch furthermore. So, back to your break now, teachers. We do have some more time till we go back to school.
You've been listening to Teachers Talk Radio. Tune in live and listen back at ttradio.org. We look forward to hearing from you next time on Teachers Talk Radio.